it is such a blessing to be here because, not just because you're fabulous people, but I am in my hometown. I call it B-more, and most of us know it as, is Baltimore, right? Anyway, I am here to be of service to you. There was a wonderful fan who was in the line earlier today, and he says, "You just like being in front of people, don't you? I noticed that with the cons." And it was not that I like being in front of people. I just do that for a living. But what I like is for you to be in the same company with me and me with you, because I think the best thing about this is that wonderful marriage when I can be with you and you with me. So we're in this together. So there is not one question that I won't answer, and I am ready for us to have a dialogue. Okay, so I'm going to start off with some questions, and I may go off in some stories, and they're going to give me that little time thing that says 2 minutes or 1 minute or whatever it is, and we'll pretend we don't see it. How about that? All righty, let me take question one. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. Yes. She's actually not from Baltimore, Maryland. She was not born here. I was born here at Johns Hopkins Hospital a bunch of years ago. So I'm the real deal. But my interaction with Oprah was when I was here. I was in the theater circus here called Theater Project. I don't know if any of you remember that, on Preston Street. And what we did was we went into communities and we pitched tents, and we did circus acts, and we did improvisational theater, and I was a fire eater, and I did mime. And Oprah came to, she was interviewing us because they were fascinated that we would go into all these communities. So that's when I first met her, and it was it Richard Scher, yeah, and I ended up doing that talk show, morning talk show, a few times because I come back to Baltimore. But I say, all things good come out of Baltimore. So I'll take that. I'll say that Oprah came out of Baltimore, but I came out of Baltimore first. Okay. Yes.
So in the episode, Bada Bing, Bada Bang, you referenced Asheville, North Carolina. What is the significance? Was that just thrown out there, that having special meaning? Because I'm originally from Asheville, North Carolina.
Well, congratulations to you from being from Asheville, North Carolina. And let me answer that question. That was just thrown out there and was in the script, but it has a significance, more of a significance now, because my husband and I and our family, we have a farm that's in Virginia, which is 10 miles north of North Carolina. And so nowadays I get to see where all these places truly exist. So it means something now.
Right now, all this call, I live in Pennsylvania.
Okay, Joyzy. All righty. I gotcha. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, ma'am. It's an honor and a pleasure. Thank you for coming. My name's Avery, so my question is...
Where have you been?
That's a question I got, too, for that, the other Avery. I'm not named after him, but my question to you is, what was it like working with Avery Brooks?
Wow. Good question. And I must tell you, truly an honor. To be honest. There are a few people that I just kowtow to in terms of their presence, in terms of what they have to give back to community, and Avery Brooks was one of them. I had heard wonderful things about him. Not only on screen was he wonderful with Sirach's character, you know, a single man raising this kid, but both he and his wife are pillars in the educational system. And so to me, to be a person of color and educated in that way, and so talented, it was truly an honor. And when walking on the set, you knew that everyone else respected him in that way. They never called him Avery. It was always Mr. Brooks. And in my entire career, aside from Miss Cecily Tyson, and I worked with her too. This is the only person of color that I ever heard everyone around him call him Mr. Brooks. And I think that meant an awful lot, not just to me, but a community of people. So it was an honor.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh, snap. A krill up in here. Oh my gosh, look at that. Did you do that?
Yes, I did.
How does it feel?
Surprisingly comfortable. I just have to keep this in one place, but other than that, it's not bad.
You did an excellent job.
Thank you.
Wait a minute, you guys, you have to applaud that. Wow. Wonderful.
So what I really wanted to ask you is, how was your part, explained to you by Seth MacFarlane when you were first trying out for the role on the Orville?
Someone sort of kind of asked me that today in line, and same answer. I thought I was trying out for Dr. Claire Finn, and in the end I found out Seth and I were just hanging out because he had written it for me.
Yeah.
And what he did, he's a fan of Deep Space Nine. He was a fan of the Larry Sanders Show, and he was a fan of 24. And he believed that Dr. Claire Finn was a combination of all three of those people with his twist on it. And so when I thought we were having a meeting that I was trying out for this job, we just sat down and he said, "So Penny, how in the hell have you been?" And I said, "Oh my gosh, that means we've met somewhere before." And the whole time I'm trying to figure out, okay. And then it came to me. We met at a dinner party with Phyllis Diller and my husband talking crap, and Seth never forgot that. So pretty much that's how Claire became.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. My New Yorker?
The New Yorker with the deep voice.
There you go.
Thank you for being here again and sharing your experiences with us. My question would be, I know, I read a little bit about how Seth wrote the part for you. I noticed, like, when I was binge watching it this past summer, the part of Dr. Claire Finn in the first few episodes is like a little bit on the background on the side, and the character gets more involved as the season go on. Did you know it was going to be like that from the beginning, or?
Well, when you have the creator of a show who's actually an actor on the show too, and he is there for everything. I promise you that, everything. So when you have a group of people, when you have a cast of people, and you get to know them on a certain level, you become a person who's smart enough to truly write for them. And you write for them their strengths, and you challenge them with their weaknesses. And Seth is one to look at you and to be around you, and he's like a sponge. He absorbs everything. So I think that Claire evolved as my personal relationship evolved too. And I knew early on that she would have more involvement. And also it's for you, because if you throw everything about a character to a fan, there's no growth there.
Exactly.
So we have to know, we have to plant seeds to know if this is someone you even like, or in my case, playing Sherry Palmer, you don't like, but you kind of want to love. You kind of ease your way into it. So it's spoon feeding, but for the actor, I find that better, because I'm the one who, I don't read the scripts. Like, they have all of the scripts, and he knows, don't send Penny the scripts, because she's not going to read it until there's a table read, because I don't want to know what's going on. I'm a fan. I want to be in the moment. I don't want to plan today, when we shoot in July, what I'm going to do in July. I want to exist in the world right now. And so you'll see the truth, because it's his job to connect the dots in the editing room. So I'm just trying to play the moment for you.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Laura. I have a culinary question for you.
Go ahead.
What is your favorite food to put Old Bay seasoning on?
Crab cakes.
I'm sorry?
Crab cakes.
Awesome. And if you need someone to go over to Wegmans and grab you a tin, just let me know.
Okay. I was waiting in out. No, you brought it up. Get back over there on that microphone. Okay. They gave me a lunch break, and I called down to get some crab cakes. They told me it was going to take over an hour to get my crab cakes, and if I had waited over an hour, I wouldn't be here. So Grubhub, whatever it is, get them coming, because that crab cake I will eat right here in front of you.
Or you could just ask me to go across the street and get something for you.
Thank you so much, though.
You're
It's a
welcome.
pleasure.
Hello, it's a pleasure to meet you. My name's Morgan.
Hi, Morgan.
So I was curious, and I love especially Deep Space Nine and the Orville. And so particularly with Deep Space Nine was the first show of its kind. It was, the most different Star Trek. And so it was definitely a unique experience for the actors on the show and things like that. And so I was just curious, what would you say is the most valuable lesson you learned through your experience with the show?
With the show or the content format of the show? Or both?
Both or either, just something that really stuck with you and resonated with you as a unique experience.
I think the idea that you had a single black male raising a child by himself was fascinating to watch. Watching their relationship on and off screen was something that I will never forget. As a matter of fact, to be very honest, Dr. Claire Finn has 2 boys, and I liken that from the Deep Space Nine relationship, because family, to me, there is nothing more important than family. I could give this up today, this moment, if someone told me I would lose my family, because that's what it's all about. And so that is the takeaway from Deep Space Nine, and I certainly hope it's something that will resonate in the Orville too, because I am now a single woman raising two boys. And so if nothing else, I say family, the foundation of family and the strength and the importance of.
Awesome, thank you. You and your sons are definitely my favorite characters on the Orville, so thank you.
Thank you. I will definitely tell them that.
Welcome back to Baltimore.
Oh boy, you have just treated me so fine. I took a look at that during lunchtime. Just lovely.
I am curious that with all the appearances you've made at conventions and such, do you have a problem with people bringing you boxes of lime Jell-O?
It depends on if they want me to take a picture doing something with that lime Jell-O. Okay, because remember, there was nothing there when I was with that lime Jell-O.
Oh, yeah.
It was all me. Someone asked me earlier, who's the better kisser, Yaphet or Isaac or Sisko? And let me just answer that, so get you. Guess who it was?
Sisko, I'm sure.
It was Yaphet, because it was all about me, so I could deliver it with me. I could kiss myself the way I want to be kissed, so there you go. It was Yaphet.
Do you have a favorite story or moment that happened on set with Castle?
Wow, many. On a serious note, one episode we were filming, and I had 104-degree temperature. And I've never missed work over being sick or anything. And I was really sick and I needed to go home. But Andrew Marlowe said, can we just get this? And I'm thinking, I'm just gonna die right in front of this. And not only did I have this temperature, that's the year that I had suffered a concussion and couldn't remember anything. And I thought, okay, they gotta get it. And so I was doing a scene with Seamus. And we did his coverage, and then we were doing my coverage. And my mind, I just couldn't remember anything. And so I said to Seamus, I said, do you mind not saying your lines, but just say my lines? Because the camera's on me. They don't know what's happening with you. I said, just say my lines, because that's the only way I'm going to get through it. And when you're dealing with an actor who's from the theater too, like that precious Seamus sat there and he didn't do line readings. Because he knew I didn't want him to tell me how to do my line. I just wanted the words because I couldn't remember them and I was just ill. And Seamus fed me my lines. And I must say that I got a phone call from Andrew saying, that's the best scene Gates has ever done. And I'm thinking, that's when you got to just give it away, nothing matters, and go for it. So that's a good thing. Now, on another note, Nathan Fillion is the funniest guy out there. I mean, I've told stories about how generous he was, how wonderful he was to a fan of mine who came all the way from Australia, and he put all this money together and told me to give it to her and not to open it, you know, and I didn't follow instructions. I opened it in my dressing room with the fan and videotaped it so she could see it, and it is the most precious moment ever that this man could give a gift to a stranger that changed her life, you know, in a moment. So aside from being the funniest, I mean, a generous man, he's just plain funny.
You had some big shoes to fill on that show when you arrived, and you did a bang-up job.
Thank you
The
so
best.
much. Thank you so much. Hey there.
Hello, Larry. Hello again. My question is, he beat me on the Castle. I was going to ask you about Castle, but you gave most of the information there. But of what you've done, the shows, which of the actors, between Seth and Nathan, which one would you say is the funniest? Seth or Nathan?
Oh my gosh. In which way are we being?
Just in general. I mean, cracking people up and everything else. Because
Okay, in total, it's Seth MacFarlane. I mean, the man he can say the word toothpaste, and it's just funny because he can say it in 100 different voices, and he's so particular. He's just funny. He's so carefree, and he's giving, and wow, I've been blessed with some really good people. No, it's Seth. Yeah, it's Seth. Sorry, Nathan. I love you, dude, and you really look good with that little slim figure you got going on there, but it's Seth.
Hi, Penny. I'm Pete.
Hey, Pete.
So I know every actor's favorite thing is to be asked about something from a show 30 years ago that you probably don't even remember, right?
Oh, I have a really good memory. I may be old, but I can remember stuff.
Well, good. One of the things I thought was interesting about the Kasidy Yates character was the revelation that she was working with or for the McKee, which are the bad guys, and she even did some time for that in a prison. And
yeah,
I was just
I've had a couple of characters that's done time.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty. Yeah.
Well, I always thought that was kind of a surprising twist to me. I was like kind of shocked, and I think it shocked a lot of people who watched it. So I was kind of curious what you thought of that. Did you know that when you got the role that what she was working for, or did you think, oh man, this is stupid, or did you kind of embrace it, or what did you think of that revelation there, that twist?
Well, to begin with, I had to ask my Star Trek dictionary, my husband, Johnson Jerald, what in the heck is a marquee? I didn't know what it was. He says the enemy. And I was like, oh, okay, oh. Ooh, that's not good, huh? And also, when I signed on, I didn't know how long I was signing on for. And I think there was a test to see what the chemistry was about. But day one, when I looked at that chocolate man and he looked at me, I knew it was going to be on for a long time.
Nice. Yeah.
So I didn't know that. But I have to tell you this. When I read that script, and it was a two-parter, the one that I read. When I read it, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not coming back.
Oh, no.
They're going to, okay, she's being written off and no one is telling me.
Wow.
So there is a scene, she comes to the foot of her ship. It's just when they're saying goodbye or something like that. And both Avery and I are looking at each other, and we decided we were going to play that as though we were never going to be on screen together, or the two characters would never see one another. And I have to say, it was pretty deep doing
Yeah.
that scene.
Well, it came across that way, that's for sure.
That's because it was
amazing
that way.
performances. Yeah, wow.
Yes. So
Okay, wow, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much.
thank you.
Hello, Penny.
Hello there.
Hi. Earlier you talked about how Seth wrote the part for you, and I wondered, like, when you revealed that your character was from Baltimore, how much of that was due to you, how much of that was your input, how much of that was Seth's, and I also found that interesting that he wrote that for you, because I remember reading somewhere that Rena Owen was at one point under consideration for the role that you got, for Finn's role. So
Not.
yeah, well, she's on Siren now, and so she's doing fine. We're, not worried, yeah. But so how much of that input did you have with making that, or was that all Seth?
Okay, let me be very clear.
Yeah.
The Orville is written by, the Orville is created by, the Orville is starred by Seth MacFarlane. Truly, he's clearly a genius. There's no input necessary. It's always there on the page. And I think that what Seth does is he gives us these little gifts. For instance, there is a scene in that same episode where Claire is waking up, and I think her son, little Ty, is next to her, or he's coming in, and she wakes up and she looks at the clock. And when I looked at the clock when we were doing it, it said 3:14. Well, my birthday is 3:14. So there are a lot of things. And then, I find out it's Baltimore. Then he asked me, what's my favorite food? And I said, it's champagne and it's crab cakes. And then we had that settled. That's the only input I had. But I did win because we had that settled, so I thought. And then Seth, he came to me, he said, Penny, I think, I don't think we'll be eating anything that's alive in the future. Is there anything else, that's coming from Baltimore that you would, I said, it would have to be potato cakes. Because I don't know how many of you, but we ate potatoes like a lot. And so we made a little potato cake, and that's what Claire ended up having, potato cakes. So that comes from Seth observing his cast and being smart enough to know.
Cool. And you actually, turns out, that's cool also. Apparently you also share a birthday with my stepmom, who's a really classy lady as well, so.
There you go. There's class all over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hi, I was wondering if you had ever met the woman who played Sisko's first wife, or had any connection with her, or felt any inspiration from what that relationship had been?
No, I haven't, and that's because upon my meeting with Avery and Renee, I had never watched a Star Trek. Never. My husband is a huge Trekkie, and I tell this story all the time. I was so disappointed that week. I had tested for 4 other pilots and didn't get anything. And then this came up, and I wasn't going in. And my husband said, yeah, you're going in. You're going to go in, you're going to meet him, and you're going to get the part. And that was my introduction to Star Trek. And I am a Trekkie ever since.
Okay. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
You had mentioned earlier that you met Seth MacFarlane at a dinner with Phyllis Diller.
Yes.
How did that come about?
We have a mutual friend that I went to Juilliard with, and his favorite person in the world was Phyllis Diller. And so he became famous himself in his own right, and he invited my husband and I to a dinner party, and we were all around the table. And when I met Seth, he was doing this little show called Family Guy or something, and I didn't know about Family Guy. So he had just started Family Guy, and so that's what we met at a dinner party.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would you mind if I had a conversation with you about something controversial?
I'm from Baltimore. We know how to fight.
Good.
So, good.
It's about that, actually. I listen to NPR, and recently they were covering a new concept to me, that African Americans feel a need to remain respectable, that they can't show certain parts of themselves. Maybe it's anger. They never were very specific on what parts they couldn't show. I know for women, we can't show emotion. We can't be emotional or we're written off.
I'm sorry. Why can't we show emotion?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't understand that. Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah. So I was wondering if you've ever felt that in your roles, a pressure to remain within a box, within that respectable box. And if so, would you do anything differently if that box were removed?
Well, it's never been a conscious choice. Just to let you know, almost every role that I've ever auditioned for, whatever, it's never said African American. The roles that I have been, or that I'm known for, were written for white women. So I stole something from y'all. Okay? No. And Penny is never in a box. Never, ever. However, I was just at an event with Cicely Tyson, and she told this story. And so, as I'm older in this, I would like to be known for that too. Because I am African American, I do believe that I have to make sure that I leave a legacy that is respected. So, Ms. Tyson was talking about the fact that she made a conscious choice that not to demean the female, not to demean the African American race. And she said it happened when she went to some outing and there was a gentleman there and he said to her, "I never knew about my prejudice until I saw Sounder." And she said, "Okay." He said, "Well, in Sounder, you had a son that spoke to your husband, and your son called him daddy." She said, "Okay." He says, "Well, I have a son, and I am a father, and he calls me daddy." What he was saying, that there's a difference between being white and able to call someone who loves you daddy, and that being black, you had no right to be claimed or to give claim. And she said that comment, that conversation, changed everything for her. And so everything that she stands for or stood for is because she wanted to make sure that it was connected to a race of people who are respectable.
Yeah.
So I hope that answers your question.
It does. Thank you.
Hi. First, you have the most amazing voice. It's just fantastic. I could listen to you read names out of the phone book, and it would just be awesome.
Okay, you get me a phone book, and let's see how long you can do
I don't know
that
if we
one
still
for.
have it. The next thing, I'm going to ask a question that's going to embarrass us both, probably me more than you, but you said you didn't read the scripts ahead of time. So what was your reaction when first you're going to have to be intimate with gelatinous, the life form, and the second when you're going to be intimate with an android?
Let me just tell you something. At those table reads, they should just have a video camera pointed at Penny. Because I'm reading this and I'm thinking, I said, and I usually sit next to Seth, I go, "How are you shooting that? Am I gonna be naked?" That's all I'm concerned about. I am a 50-something-year-old woman. I'm gonna be naked with this, So, okay, so I'm in shock when these, and then I laugh it off or whatever. But when I read the one when I was intimate with Mark Isaac, that's the only one that kind of like did something to me, because I got a phone call from the AD, and this was before I read the script, and actually it was the text, and the text said, Dear Penny, please know that here at Fox, we value the privacy of da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and we will make sure there's a closed set, a da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I went to my husband, I said, wait a minute, what am I showing up in here with this? I was like, wait a minute. And it just took me into this world of like, okay, how do I control this situation? I know Seth is not gonna make me do anything that and I'm known to just speak out. So I go on the set, I said, okay, I already have how I'm going to choreograph this because I'm from the theater and I've taught kids how to kiss. And you're not kissing really because I'm a teacher of the arts. And so I go to Mark, and every day Mark and I are talking about this. I said, so Mark, we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. Let's practice. He goes, well, show me. So I show him on my makeup artist, who's a female, and we're on the floor rolling around kissing like you would go like, oh my God, what are they doing up in here? But I'm doing this like theater kiss. And I show Mark, he says, you mean you weren't kissing her? I said, no, so can we do that? So it's all planned. Mark's swimming every day because he's gonna have his top off, you know, and I'm not knowing what I'm gonna have off. I just know I'm on top of him. So we're about to shoot this scene. Seth comes over and he said, you wanna see the monitor? Because I always look at the monitor to see. And I see the monitor look at this clock, and then it goes up to the outer space. I said, oh, Seth, we don't need to be naked. He says, oh, no, you don't have to. This is a month of thinking my butt is going to be naked. I'm hiding stuff from my husband who can't handle it on the screen. Mark is swimming like he's, what's his name, Spritz? Mark Spritz? I mean, he's swimming every day because he wants to be all pumped up. And now the kiss. I go, okay, well, Seth, can I show you this kiss? So we do the little theater kiss, and he goes, hey, that's good. He says, but I'm going to be closer. So Mark and I do the most gentlest, sweetest kiss, and it works. But all of that, I was bent out of shape for over a month. So you know what? Don't read the scripts. Don't have an AD call you up and say close set and all this stuff. Like, no, bring it on. Everybody come on in here. Because the more people, you know, you're not going to do anything. So hope that answers your question.
Okay, thanks so much.
I think one of the unique powers of science fiction is to look at some of the issues humanity has through maybe a softer lens, more accessible lens. And Deep Space Nine did that in a lot of great ways, and so does the Orville. Specifically, an episode that stands out to me from Deep Space Nine is Far Beyond the Stars. And first, I'm curious how it was for you as an actress and for you as a person of color to be able to do an episode like that in such a powerful show like Star Trek, and how you feel approaching issues, particularly like in the Orville with gender, as maybe a responsibility to portray those issues well on the screen, and how that informs your decisions as an actress.
You know, I went to a school that teaches you well, a little old school in New York called Juilliard. And there was a wonderful violinist there, and she could draw. And she loved the theater students, and she really loved me. And she gave me this picture, and it's a picture, and it described what an actor is. And she said, an actor is an adult playing hide and ego seek. And I thought, oh, that's cool. But over the years, I've learned that it's not, an actor is not someone who's playing hide and ego seek. An actor is someone who, after you see something that he or she has done, it has to move you and speak to you in some way. You must not remain the same after seeing it. I don't think we need to answer the questions for you, but I certainly believe that we need to present those questions that you should be asking yourselves and asking and having a conversation with other people about it. But specifically, Beyond the Stars, I thought that was an opportunity missed for Avery getting the Emmy for that, because he also directed it. I have to say that. When I read that script, it was a script where I didn't want to read it twice. It was also during the time when I had a photographic memory before my accident. So I could read or see something once and then I would leave it alone. And that's a great asset to an actor because you're not thinking of words, you're existing in the world. And when I read that, I could hardly sleep because I couldn't wait to do it. I couldn't wait to show a world that was full of brown and black people who had feelings and who were just real human beings for people to see. How could we have even gone to that place ever? And now on the Orville, when there's so many different species to bring about the different issues that we have today, you are just praying that at one day in this lifetime of ours, that we can embrace the differences and celebrate the likenesses too. We would just be better off. So that's where I'm coming from.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for, you made us all fall in love with you on Deep Space Nine. It's just awesome to see you there. But going back to 24.
Oh, you hated me.
Actually, what made me crazy about 24, and there's a long list of things that make me crazy, was thinking how the cast stayed in the same day for that entire season. I mean, as an actress, you're doing like, all right, now it's like an hour later, now it's like an hour later. And I was like, well, they didn't shoot it in one day. So how mentally did you stay in that one spot, whereas you're traveling through your normal progression of time in the real world? I just thought it was a remarkable achievement, and
Thank
it really
you.
worked well in that first season.
Thank you so much. First of all, you have a great script supervisor. And then if you are a person who, after you read the script, you actually work on the script, you keep a note for yourself. But as an actress, I have to tell you, the challenging is that you had to have your hair cut every 2 weeks. My hair grows so fast, it's crazy. But it couldn't grow for a whole year because it was one day. So they were constantly cutting my hair, and you're constantly in the same thing. Now, I'm a girl who likes some clothes. So what I would do is get the script and try to figure out, well, you know what? We change clothes in 24 hours. We put on bed clothes. We get a little dressed up for dinner. So I was always trying to pitch bringing in more, clothes and things like that. But the short answer, you have a great script supervisor who's responsible for continuity, and you ask the proper questions.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you again. It's wonderful that you're here.
Good afternoon.
I have an Orville question. First of all, I really enjoy your character. I think you fit right in and lend so much to the whole cast.
Thank you.
I'm not sure if you'll be able to answer this, but because you're in the periphery, but there was a decision made, I guess, by Seth and other folks to go off regular broadcast TV and go to Hulu. And I would just like to say as a fan, that's very distressing to me because there are now so many different pay-per-view channels. I mean, I pay for cable as it is, and I'm going to have to wind up paying a lot more if I want to watch your show, and I want to watch Star Trek, and I want to watch other ones. It's getting to be prohibitive, and I realize this was probably a economic decision. I understand that Seth said something about he wants to run episodes that are longer than an hour. Have you heard anything about that?
I'm in the show. I've heard everything. Okay. However, I was on a bus with the rest of the cast when that was officially announced. And I had heard bits and pieces, but I didn't know that it would be official. And immediately I text Seth. No, I didn't text Seth. I said something on the bus. And then he texted me, which means there were some spies on that bus. Because I said exactly how I felt. I said, who thought this was a good idea? I'm fan-based. I want my fans not to have stress like you. And I'm just so stressed out because I'm thinking, this is so stupid. But now that I am shooting season 3, there is no way we could possibly give you the season 3 that we are going to give you if we were on in any other way. You are going to get movies. You're not really getting episodes. You're getting movies. There are times when we are shooting, as a matter of fact, right now, we're shooting 5 episodes at the same time because we're not finished episode 1 that we started at the end of September, beginning of October, because you are going to get something that is unfreaking believable. Now, let me tell you on the download about the Hulu thing. I don't have Hulu. But let me tell you what a fan told me. Fan told me, wait till they all air, buy Hulu, get your little free 30-day, watch them, and then cancel them. That's what the fan told me, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, there are so many different ways that you can watch it, and I do understand. You got this to pay for. My husband we have like 650 channels at home. It's not Hulu, and my husband gets Netflix. I'm thinking, what do we need? Well, he is just hooked on it. So you may get Hulu, and you may get hooked on Hulu. Sweetheart, do we have Hulu? Oh, okay. Okay. But we'll get it for the Orville? And then we'll cancel it? I'm just telling you, I'm just trying to keep it real. But I was disturbed until it was not just explained to me, but I'm actually witnessing it. I'm living how we're shooting this. And you will not be disappointed. I promise you that.
Okay,
Follow me on Twitter.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Lynn Fitzgerald, and I actually saw your husband on the elevator. And this question was actually more for him, but I know he doesn't. I didn't know he was a performer because I was going to say, he probably wouldn't want to come out and answer this. But
He probably does if I answer it wrong.
What the question was, one, what was his reaction? And two, how did he feel about, if he was a Star Trek fan, having his significant other be on the show? Was that like the coolest for him? Or was he like almost happier about you getting the job than you were?
Okay, let me this. Before there was a significant other, there was this thing called marriage, and this is over 35 years of marriage.
Right.
So I just want to make sure I clear that one up.
Your husband, yes.
This is like real the marriage. But can I go ahead and voice your opinion, because he will.
Okay. Mike, come on, so we can, for those of us that are going to get the CD, come on, you can go upstage, can't you? Okay.
Oh, no, they're taping. All right. No, that's the wrong terminology.
Fine.
So not.
Anyway, I'm a Trekkie from way back. Way back. You know, and then when Jean-Luc Picard came on with Next Generation, I was sold out. I'll tell you that there wasn't a Trek I was going to miss. As a matter of fact, I think it came on a Wednesday night, and Wednesday morning I would say, guess what day it is? It's Trek Day. That's right. And I would just keep that going all day until about, I think it was 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. I can't remember exactly what time. But anyway, when it came up that someone offered her an opportunity to be on Deep Space Nine, because I didn't really know about Deep Space Nine, and it was new. But it was surreal to see her on the screen. It was. She said, you're going to be a Star Trek captain? Wow. Whoever thought? So, no, it was great. I don't really have the words to express how I felt at that time, but I'll just tell you it was surreal. That's the best thing I can come up with right now. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Oh, I love Picard.
What he's not telling you is every time any man tried to touch me on film, including Avery, he'd just close his eyes and go, is it over yet? Because that was not surreal, it was so real.
But he's been married to a beautiful woman all these years. He must get used to people looking at you.
Honey, that's a man. Let's see. When I see him perform and I see all these girls that look like they just want to devour him, a part of me goes, oh, that's cool. And another part goes, ha ha, that'd be mine.
Thank you very much.
Well, do we have any more questions? Okay, I think we're coming to a close, but I would like to close it with this. You guys are some of the most remarkable human beings out there. When I see you in my line or when I see you walking around the hall, you give me hope because you are all so different. You're tall, you're short, you're skinny, you're thick, you're young, you're not. And it makes me feel good. It makes me feel good that in the future, you're kind of like the people who are going to be in the future. You are more accepting than most fans, being sci-fi fanatics at times. I did an interview and they asked me, what do I think about fans? And sometimes you guys are intimidating. And you're intimidating because you are so darn smart. But more than smart, you're giving and you're loving. And so those of you who are in my line and you had to wait, I'm just sorry you had to wait. But it is my job to have human contact with you. So if you come in my line and you have to wait, it's only because you get the same time that the person in front of you got, because you are deserving of it. Thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to the next time. God bless.
Hi, this is Aaron Ashmore, and you are watching Fandom Spotlight. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe like now. Oh, and have fun and follow your fandom.